Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 10th. We are going to jump right in here, Virgo. You have this key card. It says locked doors can now be open. You have this chalice. It says rejuvenation and fulfillment on it. So I feel for a lot of you, this is very good, Virgo. Obviously some opportunities could be coming in for you. I think that Virgo is really going to benefit from the water trine that we're having this month. It actually hits at multiple times this month as well. So it kind of like moves away and then comes back. And, this could be making you either lucky but lucky in the sense that doors are opening, or you're getting opportunities and things like that. So, that's very good. This reading looks amazing so far. Love it. In your first row, you have the Magician, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Five of Cups. I feel like saying you are the Magician, not even just this week, but I would say this entire month could be a good time for you to manifest or to create. We have the Magician pointing down to the Emperor. And so the Magician, he kind of has the manifestation part down, but he does need to take action, and the Emperor would be action. And so instead of just thinking about things that you want to manifest, it's time for action is what the Magician is saying to me. He can also kind of represent the tools that you're using for the job. You have that chalice card that kind of reminds me of the Ace of Cups, and then you have the Ace of Cups right here. So, injecting more love into the things that you're trying to create or work on, or coming from a position of love. Definitely, we've talked about this before, Neptune and Pisces. With Neptune and Pisces, we have to do things out of love, for sure. And also in the middle of this month, when Uranus goes back into Taurus, we also have to do things for love. If you're just doing something, just to make money, or just because someone told you to, or whatever, it's going to be more of a struggle than if you're doing something because you actually want to do it. It'll be easy. And, that's what I would focus on with the Magician. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is luck. Like I said, it is a lucky month. I don't care what anyone says, really. And, there are only a couple astrologers that I can think of off the top of my head that have been saying how lucky this time is. And, it really is, but it's kind of like luck that we create. And so the Wheel of Fortune, we have to double down on the good things that are happening. We have to get rid of the challenges also just as quickly. We can't hide from our challenges with the Wheel of Fortune. I think that's something that people forget about the card, is that the wheel, or the wheels, there are three on the card, they spin in whatever direction they want. We can take control of the wheels by living in the middle, right here, where we don't try to, stop bad things from happening. We don't try to necessarily create more good things, although we can. But what we do instead is we understand that life is full of challenges, and instead of ignoring them, we take care of them right away. And when good things happen, we double down on those things and we expand them. And so I feel like that is what the Wheel of Fortune is trying to get you to do. You have the Five of Cups. A lot of Five of Cups energy this week, I've noticed. And, the Five of Cups can be like regrets or sadness. Now, it is the start of the retrograde. The retrograde starts on Sunday, the 9th, the day before the week starts. And, I'm wondering if there are some regrets. I kind of intuitively, I feel it has to do with time, because we also have Saturn retrograde. And so what I think a lot of people are feeling is that either they feel they've run out of time, they don't have enough time, or they missed out on something. As in, it's like you could be thinking about an opportunity that you feel like you missed out on, or you're not going to get again. And what I would say is I've seen a lot of second chance energy lately in just, all the readings. And so I think that if you're feeling like you missed out an opportunity, you didn't. You can create the opportunity again, is what the Magician wants you to do. The Five of Cups, we have to be grateful for what we have. We have to see these two cups, then we get this bridge and this castle here, Virgo. And so I would make sure that you realize, if you feel that you missed out on anything in your life at all, that you, number one, realize you still have time and you can get started today, right? And so I would make sure that you're, kind of doing that at this time, because it seems like it is a time where we could make it happen. With the Magician, you have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords like a never-ending nightmare. Again, Nine of Swords would also say that you have the tools, right? Just like the Magician. The Nine of Swords, he has these blue squares on this blanket here on his lap, and those blue squares have these astrological symbols inside them. And so this is meant to be a comfort blanket. It's kind of both good and bad on the Nine of Swords, right? Because it's bad because he's in pain, but he's not in enough pain to leave. He still has a source of comfort. He's just using it in the wrong way. He's staying in bed. He's not getting out of the bed. And so he needs to look at those blue squares, all the astrology he's lived through, and realize that that astrology has taught him what he needs to know to thrive in the future, right? And so, again, that's how it is good, is that he's learned these lessons. He just needs to realize that all he has to do is get up, get out of bed, and he can change his situation. And so, again, I think it's about the tools that you've learned and how you basically use them. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the King of Cups. Yeah, it is an emotional time, I would say, as well. Again, Uranus and Taurus, I think, is also, there is something emotional about it, maybe, or there's something that I think, kind of makes us feel emotional in some ways, even though we wouldn't really consider it to be emotional. And so I think we have to explore our emotions. The King of Cups is sitting in the middle of the ocean, and he has explored his emotions, but he has to make sure that he doesn't drown in his emotions. He has to come up for air. And, I feel this is talking a little bit about that. I do also feel this could be love, because we have divine counterparts here, obviously, Emperor and the Empress, and, this could be a new person if you're looking for love. Here you go. With the Five of Cups, you have the Knight of Cups. This person will not be a disappointment, right? Because we go this way here, and we also have the Ace of Cups. So the Knight of Cups, of course, can be like a knight in shining armor, someone who makes you very happy. So if you're looking for love, this looks amazing. I also feel that your perspective is like changing on a dream. The reason I say that is that we have the Eight of Cups and the Moon with a Strength card here on the bottom. Knight of Cups is very dreamy, but he thinks that he doesn't have the resources necessary to be successful. He's standing in the desert, but he has this water flowing in front of him. What he needs to realize is if he just planted seeds in front of that water, they would grow. So that the Knight of Cups wants you to, even if you think you don't have the resources necessary to be successful, he wants you to kind of like get moving anyway. And if we look at the Emperor and the Empress from a non-love perspective, the Empress and the Emperor are really good for, having balanced masculine and feminine energy. It kind of says that you have both at this time, which is great for creating anything. You have the action side and you have the creativity side. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Invoke Lucidity card. It says, question, test reality, learn to fly. Which is funny because I said something about flying to Pisces this week. You have this Flip the Script card. It says, take charge and choose your outcome. I think you are flipping the script. Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords, he's kind of like in the same situation over and over and over again. But right next to the Nine of Swords in the Magician, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So you could be just flipping the script on your life in general, which of course is great. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Eight of Cups. The Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence. It's a card of gratitude and luxuries. Seems to be a good time to practice gratitude. This has come up for several other people, so I would definitely do it. The Nine of Pentacles is about getting into a new environment. We have the snail right here, and snails wear their homes on their backs. So sometimes I think that the Nine of Pentacles just says you have to change your environment. You have to create a new environment. I changed everything here, right? Why? Because the Nine of Pentacles kept coming up in readings, right? So I decided I was going to mix things up, right? And it feels different. I feel different shooting videos like this, right? So I think it's a great time for people to, kind of create a new environment around them, and to also, by the way, for your feelings, right? It's like, how does a change make you feel? And I don't know, definitely popping into my head. You have the Emperor, time for action for sure. It's like, I think you have the thinking part down with the Magician, Nine of Swords there. The Nine of Swords is, again, not a great card, but it is a thinking card, like I said. So, I think you have the thinking part down. And now the Emperor is saying it's time to take advantage of an opportunity. The most important part of the Emperor to me is the fact that he has his armor on underneath his cloak. It says that he's ready to go at a moment's notice. So whenever an opportunity presents itself, he takes it. He really grabs onto it, makes it happen, which I feel would be a good thing for you here, Virgo, and to get moving. He also kind of represents a second chance. Not really, but kind of. Because he has this Ankh right here. The Ankh is a symbol of rebirth. So it's like I feel you're kind of being given a chance to take the lead on something that you feel like you missed out on. Or again, it could be the whole time issue. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough time or you ran out of time. If you have a specific thing in your life that you've wanted to create that has to do with time, then I would try again, is what the whole reading is really saying to me. You have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you. Yeah, I think there is a shedding of the skin going on. We're in the year of the snake, we're at the end of the year of the snake. Next year is going to be the year of the horse in Chinese zodiac, but I kind of wonder if the end of the year is when we actually shed our skin. When you think about it, a snake doesn't shed its skin immediately. It's a process. It takes a while. It's like they become duller in color, and like slowly their skin starts to kind of get to the point where it can be shed. And then, at the very end, they can't see even out of their eyes because it's all cloudy with the skin over them and everything. And then eventually, after that process, they kind of slip the skin off. And I'm wondering if, really that's what happens in the year of the snake, is that at the end is when we kind of are finally releasing things that we no longer need or no longer serve us. And I think it would be a great time for you to think about that. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. It's kind of funny that you have the Nine of Swords, Eight of Swords there with the Nine of Pentacles. You could have the Nine of Pentacles, but the Eight of Swords is about being open to many different solutions, and she only sees one way to solve her problem when there are many. So it's really, the Eight of Swords is about being open to as many solutions as you possibly can be. With the Emperor, you have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands is a card of growth and success and expansion, and so there could be a lot of success for you coming in for you at this time, which is great. Really, with the Emperor, it would say taking action is going to lead to a victory or a big achievement or a win. He's also getting a lot of attention, which really only comes up for you, Virgo, a lot. Other signs get these messages of attention, but you get them every single reading. So it's clearly your time to shine, or your time to kind of flip the script, as that card says. That card says choose your outcome. It's like this is a choose your outcome reading. Magician, Wheel of Fortune, these are both cards of kind of taking control of your reality. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny, but it's your destiny how you see it. I always say Wheel of Fortune is your personal vision for your life. How do you see your life? How do you want it to go? And I really feel you have the choice. With the Eight of Cups, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, everybody has to do this, doing things differently. The Seven of Swords is a good card. It is a golden card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. So, I know everybody reads this as lying, cheating, stealing, which, yeah, sure, it could be. But, really, he is avoiding war. He is stealing those swords from that army in the background to avoid having to go to war. And, the Seven of Swords is about tactics. It's about doing things in a smarter, better way, which we all have to do with Pluto and Aquarius, but also Uranus and Gemini. Even though Uranus is retrograding out of Gemini this month, doesn't matter. It's already entered into Gemini. So we have to make sure that we're kind of, I think the best way to think about it is to do the opposite, right? That's one thing you can do of what everybody else does. So if you're trying to stand out in business or work, doing things that are off the wall, crazy, that, push you in new directions, that go against the grain, all that stuff will make you stand out. And that's what, all your readings ask you to do here, Virgo. So that's what I'd be doing. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Blessed card, which is great. And you have this Fork in the Road card. So the Fork in the Road card can represent having a choice to make. But I kind of feel that you have been it's like I think you don't realize that you have been building blessings behind the scenes. It's like you have been doing the work. It's just not, I think what it is for Virgo is that it's like how you present the work. It's like you've been doing it's almost like you have this, it's almost like you have a collection of work done, behind the scenes. And it's like how you present that work is what matters here. And, that's kind of what's popping into my head. Same thing with work and business as well. Like if you're trying to stand out in work and business and you're not standing out or you're not getting attention, I feel like this is saying it's like, no, you're doing the right things, but what has to change is like how you show off to your boss or how you present your work to your boss or something like that. I feel like the same thing could be true in love. It's like maybe you have all the right things, but if you're looking for love, maybe how you present it or how you present yourself or something it needs to change a little bit. But this isn't like a criticism, Virgo. This isn't a bad thing either. I think it's about like highlighting the right parts of yourself in all areas of life. Nine of Pentacles, like everything. Nine of Pentacles is heaven on earth. So you have to create heaven on earth with that card. And, that's what I'd be focusing on here. And flip the script. You have the Empress, the Page of Wands, and the Moon. The Empress is abundance, so definitely could be a lot of abundance coming in for you if you're looking for it. Really good for anything you're creating. It's kind of funny. I do like that you have the Emperor before the Empress in this reading as well, because it's almost like you are going to take action. And the Six of Wands is an action card as well. It's like you are going to take action and get the abundance. So I feel like you need to believe that. The Empress is also very creative, a very creative time. I think that Uranus retrograde in Taurus there is an element of creativity. I think the challenge with Uranus in retrograding into Taurus is the building part. We are kind of building something, and I just realized something as well. This card here is card number 22. 22 is a little bit of a pain in the ass, right? I'm not a big numbers guy. I failed math my entire life, but what I would say is 22 is a master builder number. The problem with number 22 is that it's a lot of back to the drawing board. We can start working on a project. We realize it's not going in the right direction, and then we have to kind of go back to the drawing board, start again, and kind of rebuild it, and all this other stuff. I moved from house number 22 before I lived here. The house before here was 22. I lived there for 2 years, and I started a project there that I've been working on for years, and it's like I had to go back to the drawing board a bunch of times. And even still today, it's kind of like moving in a new direction. And so I think that's the challenge with 22 is that it does bring blessings because it forces us to like whittle something down. It's like you're at the beginning of the process, you're being given a kind of like a lump of clay that you have to shape into a sculpture. I talked about this in the last reading, right? And it's like it's like you start working on it and then you perfect it over time. Again, I think the challenge for Virgo is that, what you're working on, it's not going to start perfect. It's like you have to, it's a process. It's not, this is not like a destination. So if you're thinking, oh, I have to be perfect to start this, and you never get started, then you're not going to make all those little changes that need to happen. And I hope that makes sense. You have the Page of Wands. Also, make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. The Page of Wands is a card of going on an adventure. Again, the process. And the other thing I said at the beginning of your reading is the energy at which you're coming at something. Page of Wands, he follows his enthusiasm. He doesn't do something because people tell him it's the right thing to do, or because he thinks it's going to make him money or whatever. He does things because they feel optimistic, or because he feels enthusiastic about going on the journey, or with whatever he's building. And so I feel that is going to be an important energy for you to work from. You have the Moon. The Moon can represent still not getting answers. One thing I will say is this Mercury retrograde seems to be one where we're getting answers. So I wouldn't worry too much about this. But again, I think this is talking to you, Virgo, about the start of a journey. This is part of the Fool's journey. He starts here, and he has no clue if he's going to make it to the end. But the trick with the Moon is that he just has to realize, the Moon is temporary energy. So he has to realize that he is only going to be confused for a temporary period of time. It's not going to be forever. The sun eventually will come up, but he has to start the journey for that to happen in the first place. So exactly what I was saying. With the Empress, you have the Four of Cups. Yeah, a little bit of boredom. I feel Neptune retrograde, especially being in your opposite sign, definitely can make you feel bored. The problem with Neptune retrograde in Pisces as well is that we have to be inspired to start working on something. But the problem with that is that we have to, for something to work, we have to be inspired. To get started, we have to be inspired. It's a little bit of a contradiction. It's like you have to get started to get the inspiration in the first place, but to get started, you have to be inspired. And so the trick is we just have to take a couple of steps towards something we think we might enjoy. And, I think looking at things and just saying, I don't have to commit to this. I'm just going to try it. It's like maybe that's the perspective you need because, again, if you start something and you think this has to be perfect, it's just not going to happen, right? With the Page of Wands, you have the Knight of Wands. Yes, being willing to be spontaneous, being willing to make those changes. We talked about being willing to iterate, right? I think is the message here. With the Moon, you have the Knight of Swords. Yes, no running away from the Moon. The Knight of Swords is always running towards the past. So sometimes I feel like the Knight of Swords gets to a card and then he's running backwards. And the Knight of Swords says you can face the Moon. You know, the uncertainty. You can face any challenges that will come your way, especially if you're working on something new here, Virgo. I would say, you know, charge through it. Don't run back to the past, right? Next in the area, the good stuff, you have this main male. It says the querent, meaning you, even if you're not a man, doesn't matter. It also says an important man in the reading, husband, partner, boyfriend, definitely could be attracting love. You have this child. It says fresh start, new beginnings, new phase, newness, childish, pregnancy, naive, children, inner child, and childhood. So definitely starting something new or moving in a new direction. You know, it doesn't even have to be something new. The thing, again, like I said, with the number 22, is that you can keep working on whatever it is that you're working on. You're just like reinventing it or, you know, kind of going back to the drawing board a little bit, redoing some things. And it's Mercury retrograde, so very good time to do that. The main male card, again, even if you're not a man, it could just be, I kind of feel it is just you showing up here. You know, sometimes I think these man cards, woman cards, they're just talking about the person I'm reading for. You have the Ace of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the Strength card. Again, love looks pretty good here. I feel that the Ace of Cups is talking about the perspective from which you are working. You know, again, the Ace of Cups is overflowing. It can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So the Ace of Cups wants us to do things that cause us to overflow. I feel as long as you're coming from that perspective, things will flow for you at this time. And, you know, that's, and also we have the water trine. So flow is even more important. Again, if we're trying to force things, we're going to struggle. If we're doing things from the perspective of love and expansion, because this trine is happening with Jupiter and Cancer as well, you know, then things will go very well. You have the Three of Cups. Three Cups, if you want love, by the way, I would be socializing for sure. Three Cups can be a great card for socializing or meeting someone through socializing. But these three ladies are celebrating a harvest, so I feel that you flipping the script at this time or choosing, you know, deciding that you are going to choose your outcome that you desire, that is going to be the thing that leads to success. You have the Strength card. Strength, of course, is about patience. Strength is also about kind of building strength. You know, she's had to work on her inner voice. She's building character. And I feel a lot of you have been doing that for a very long time. Again, all your readings talk about showing off. She is showing off. She has her hands in a lion's mouth. And it's like, who in their right mind would stick their hands in a lion's mouth? The answer is nobody. So, you know, again, she's doing something like putting on a display of strength, which I feel is going to be important for you. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. The whole reading is kind of a little bit of a change in direction. He's looking at these Seven Pentacles and saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, was it worth it for me to invest my time, effort, energy into these cups, or is there something better I could do with my time? And again, it's coming up in the good stuff, so there could be a positive change here. And with the Three of Cups, you have the World. Yeah, it's like, if you want love, get out into the world. But another card of another accomplishment. So you have several cards that basically say that you can accomplish the moon. The moon's journey, we can call it, right? The moon is part of the fool's journey. And I feel that you could easily get to this. You know, whenever I have this here, you know, like a world with a major arcana, it kind of tells me that, you know, it's almost like you're skipping forward. So if you would just push through this little bit of time, I feel that you would have an accomplishment pretty quickly. And with the Strength card, you have the Page of Pentacles, more newness, right? Page of Pentacles is like something new, a new beginning. Can also represent a fresh start. The Page of Pentacles could be a new person. So it could be another earth sign, which you get earth with me quite a bit. I mean, you get everything. You get earth, fire, water, you know, whatever. Next, you have this funnel. It says period of frustration, lessons to be learned. Nine of Swords, Five of Cups, Four of Cups. You know, these are all frustrations that you have probably been dealing with for a while. Luckily for you, Virgo, I feel that you can now choose your own outcome. And now you can move past these difficulties. You have this eye card. It says psychic ability, trust your intuition. Eight of Swords. You know, she has that blindfold on. The blindfolds in the tarot represent needing to trust your intuition more. So I definitely feel that you need to do things to tap into your intuition. You have the scissors card. It says disappointment in some affair, probably how things are working. Again, if you're frustrated because you're saying to yourself, things need to work this way, then you're creating your own frustration, right? And so I think being more flexible with the Page of Wands, Knight of Wands is kind of the trick here. You have this diamond. It says you'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. Love it. Definitely could be like a gift from the universe. It's, you kind of moving forward after a period of frustration. You have this hammock. It says taking a vacation physically or mentally. Yes, I think everybody needs a vacation. Even if you can't go on vacation, even if it just has to be a staycation or something like that, I would, take that staycation for sure. But this looks pretty good, Virgo, so thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.